Welcome to Nematoda College online tutorial. We hope at the end of this lesson, you will have acquired the expected learning outcome. Sit down and listen attentively as we introduce your subject.
Hello once again, students. I welcome all of you to the next lesson topic for today. I remain your biology teacher, Ibrahim Samson. So remember that we have been discussing for some time now on the identity of the animal kingdom, the various group of animals we have in the animal kingdom. We have taken our time to discuss the phylum, the various phyla we have under this kingdom, especially the phylum Porifera. We have discussed the phylum Cnidaria or the Coelenterata. Then we have also discussed the Platyminths. So today and now we are going to discuss another phylum which is known as phylum Nematoda. You can also call it Aschelminthes if you like, but it is nematode. And the group of organisms we have in this particular phylum are generally referred to as the roundworms. What can we say about the nature and identity of this group of organisms? Well, these animals or organisms are either parasitic in nature or they may be free living. They are sometimes called pseudocoelomates. Pseudocoelomate because they have a cavity that looks like a coelom. So, but since it is not a complete coelom, so we call it pseudocoelomate, which is false coelomate. Some of them are actually parasitic, like we said before, and they live inside the gut of man and animals. So in this way now, we can say that one of the similarities between this group of organisms is that they are parasitic. Some of them are parasitic, just like the previous organisms we discussed before, the flatworms. Then the examples include hookworms, pinworms, ginnyworms, and then the intestinal roundworms, the one we call Ascaris lumbricoides. They are responsible for certain diseases that are known as Ascariasis, which is responsible for abdominal discomfort. Anytime someone is having these diseases, the person feels some kind of abdominal pain or abdominal discomfort. Then they also have some coli-like pain and impaired digestion, diarrhea, and also vomiting. So whenever anyone suffers from any of these kind of diseases, you could see that by the time you go to carry out some test, a doctor may ask you to go and deworm. Why? Because some of these parasites or worms, roundworms, may be suspected to be in the person's digestive system. Then let's now take a look at the features of these organisms now. Their body is unsegmented and their body is also triploblastic. Remember, we said it before, they have what we call pseudocoelomate. That is, they have body cavity, but it is not a true cavity, but it is part of their body layer, which makes them to be triploblastic. Their body is also unsegmented. They are unsegmented. When you say something that we say segment, if you observe the body of an earthworm, for instance, you will notice that the body of earthworm is actually segmented. But in the case of this type of worms, they are, especially when you take a look at Ascaris, the body, there is no segmentation, so they are unsegmented. Then another thing about them is that they are pseudocoelomate. We have explained this one before. Their body is also bilaterally symmetrical, meaning we can actually divide their body into two, bilateral symmetry. When you see them too, unlike tapeworm, that the body looks flattened and it is like a tape, that is tape that are used by either tailors or people who use long tape in measurement. So these animals called Platyminths looks like that. But unlike those animals, the roundworms have cylindrical body shape. But this cylindrical body shape, it is tapered or taped at the end of it. Sometimes it may even be hard for you to recognize which one is the head and which one is the tail region. The body wall has both epidermal, muscular layer, as well as which is being covered with cuticles. They have epidermal layer and muscular layer that is covered with what? Cuticles. They exhibit or they exist at the organ system level of organization. Just like the platyminths, these animals also live or exist at the organ system level of organization, meaning you can expect to see some system there, especially digestive system. Then there is presence of internal cephalization, and the mouth is placed anteriorly. When you talk of internal cephalization, it is an arrangement in the internal part of the head region that gives rise to what we have as either the brain or the nerves that are responsible for the control of the various activity of the body of the animals. The organisms also possess complete digestive system. Unlike the platyminths, you will see the difference between the platyminths and the roundworms now, or the nematodes. They have complete digestive system, meaning they have two openings. At the mouth region, the head region, which is the mouth, and then the tail region, which is the anus. That makes it complete digestive system. The nervous system consists of nerve ring, which encircles the esophagus from where it extends anteriorly and posteriorly, meaning the nerve rings extend forward and then backward towards the tail region. Respiration is through general body surface, just like we have it in the platyminth. Then it could be aerobic in the free forms, but anaerobic in the parasitic forms. The organisms use gland-like body for excretion. There's what we call gland-like body, which they use for their excretion. They exhibit sexual dimorphism. They are oviparous. They could be viviparous or even ovoviviparous. We have this various group of them like that, based on the way they reproduce or carry out their egg laying. Then fertilization is also internal in this group of organisms. So, like we have mentioned before, we mentioned Ascaris, we have been mentioning it. So Ascaris is one good example of this group of organisms, Ascaris lumbricoideae, then Enterobius vermicularius, and then Ancylostoma duodenale, that is the hookworm. Then Wuchereria bancrofti, the filaria worm, as well as a worm usually seen in the eye known as low. So these are just examples of this organism we have in this group of animals known as nematode. However, take a look at the picture below and see a typical example of a nematode, and that is Ascaris lumbricoideae. Please look. You can see the organism here. This is Ascaris. So, but except you watch very carefully, you cannot easily tell which one is the head and which is the tail of this organism. And you cannot easily tell how many organisms are actually here. Is it just 1, 2, 3, 5, 12? So, but take a look at it. Doesn't it look like Indomie? But it looks like noodle actually. But I tell you, sometimes when some people that are suffering from ascariasis actually defecate, as long as the worm is inside their system, you are going to see if they deworm, if they should use some deworming medication, in the feces, you are going to see worms such as this that will be released or be defecated out along with the feces of an organism. But I tell you what, the head is actually hidden somewhere here. And we told you before that it is unsegmented. Like you can see, this is a worm now, but it doesn't look like earthworm. In the case of earthworm, it has segmentation, but this one is unsegmented, and it has a taper ending. You can see the middle of the body is actually larger than the taper end of this body, of this organism. So this is the one we call Ascaris. This is another head entirely here. This is another head. So this organism actually has complete digestive system, meaning it has anus at the tail region, and it also has mouth through which it feeds. What have we learned so far? We have come to see the characteristic features of the group of organisms that we call the phylum Nematoda. These nematodes are actually roundworms, and a typical example of them is Ascaris. If they are found in the body of man, they are responsible for certain diseases as well. So, Watch out next time. We are going to discuss more of the animal groups. As you keep watching out for the release of the next lessons, please do not forget to always download and as well as like even what you have downloaded. Make sure you share it with your friends so that you will always be getting more from this website.